Hello, I am Janice,
Hi, and I'm Patrice.
and we are Heritage and Horizons.
So, welcome back. Thank you guys for joining us for another exciting video. And today's topic is solo travel. I know you think that because we probably are doing a channel together that all of our videos will be about group travel or family travel, but we have learned to appreciate and enjoy solo travel quite a bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about our solo travel experiences. Hopefully you have had a chance to travel solo. And if you have, you can definitely share it with us in the comments. And then we'll respond and talk to you a little bit about solo travel. And if you've never traveled solo before, we can encourage you for sure.
We're going to have some ideas of why solo travel helps.
So we're going to first start with some of the destinations that we've been to. Do you want to start, Mom?
I have been to several destinations inside of the United States and outside of the United States at education conferences. As we travel down this road, you will learn more about my career and our career and how I'm able and have been able to do what I do now. So going on educational conferences was extremely valuable as a solo traveler. One, I got to learn how to maneuver the airport as well as the local transportation. And yes, my family is always worried about me. I have to text or I have to call to say I'm leaving the airport or I am at the airport or I am at my destination. And that is good. So when I would go on these solo travels to conferences, I would meet other people, and many, of course, they're educators, so we were of like minds, and I would learn about different things that are happening in their education systems, and of course, I'm able to share also with with my experiences in my education system. Some of these travels, of course, entailed me presenting at these conferences. So that was always great, getting the feedback from others as they respond on the evaluation forms always gave me an opportunity to do better, to learn better, and to expand my horizons. Now, the other solo experience I've had.
Can I interrupt you for a second? What are some of the destinations that you remember that you think fondly of that you've traveled by yourself? Be specific.
Be specific. Okay, so, there were many, but I remember going to Washington, D.C., and of course, being in Washington, D.C. is very different from being in Florida and in Jamaica or in Louisiana. And Washington, D.C. gave me an opportunity to visit the Capitol, to talk with lawmakers, to understand how government works, and of course, to get more knowledge so that when I vote, I am able to make a connection with why I'm voting and the importance of my vote. I have also been to, of course, Jamaica. I have done complementary professional development in Jamaica. Of course, Jamaica is close to my heart. So I go to Jamaica and I share what I have learned over my years of being an educator in the United States, both in Louisiana and in Florida, and then help my Jamaican professionals, give them an opportunity to compare their situations with my experiences. And such a beautiful thing. Now, doing the complementary work in Jamaica not only helped me to learn some more, but it also gave me a good feeling to know I was giving back to a country that gave so much to me. I have been on solo travels as a university professor. I have taught in the Bahamas, and I've also taught in Jamaica as a university professor. So again, solo travel gives you the opportunity, whether it's solo or not, to just talk to other people, learn their cultures, learn different perspectives. You know, sometimes we tend to have narrow vision on some things, but when we talk to other people, when we go into their situations, then we come away with additional information or probably a change in perspective. Now, there are others, and at some point we will show pictures of those. My other solo travel, and that is within the past 2.5, 3 years, was, and I'm going to try to do this without breaking down, but after my husband passed, I took a 2-week vacation by myself. And this was one of the best decisions that I could make. Of course, my kids and friends urged me to do this because they know that travel is important to me. But I spent the 2 weeks just wandering around. The first week I was just wandering around, so lost, because after being married for almost 50 years and knowing my husband for so long before the 50 years, then it was very, very difficult to be on vacation without him. But this solo trip gave me an opportunity to begin to reflect on the life that we had, the family that we created, the experiences, the memories made me feel like, well, one, I felt completely alone in the world. But the flip side of that was it gave me an opportunity to also do some research, to read a lot about the grieving process, and help me to begin the journey of grieving with more tools in my tool bag. So solo travel is good, and we're going to talk about some of the benefits of solo travel as we go further along.
Okay, so good job. So what we have in common is I first started solo travel with conferences as well. So it became very exciting because the nerd in me loves to go to conferences, whether it's travel related or not. I love to learn. I love to go and talk to other educators. We're both in education, and really being able to expand our area of expertise to even more. So become better educators and learn more so that we can pass it on to the populations that we work with. So we have gone to, well, I have gone to many conferences alone. Some of the areas I think were the best areas. I've been to Denver, Colorado for a conference. I have been to, of course, New Orleans for a conference. I've been to Vegas for conferences. I have traveled to Orlando many times for conferences, Tampa, Las Vegas, Tennessee, Atlanta, lots of places. I've had the pleasure of attending conferences on behalf of my employer, and they've paid for the vast majority of them. And so that's kind of an awesome thing. Kind of related to conferences, but not. One summer, I decided to stretch a little bit, and I went on a 2.5 week conference sort of work trip. I won't say the company, but I got a side job with this company, and I decided to take time off of my job and spend about 2.5 weeks in Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, to be specific. Now, I did this in the summer, and it was 104 degrees. Not the feels like temperature. It was 104 degrees. So that was pretty interesting to get used to. But it was a wonderful trip, and I learned a lot. And I think that how we differ as individuals is my mother is extroverted, and I am introverted, fronting like I'm an extrovert, so to speak. So to be able to go to a lot of these places for an extended amount of time was really pretty interesting. And again, as my mom said, we have lots in common when it comes to going to travel for conferences with the other individuals. So you make friends, you really get a chance to learn with other people and spend some time with other people as well. And so next on the agenda for me is just regular solo vacations. I've done quite a few solo vacations. I have been to Aruba. I have been to Jamaica. I've been to St. Thomas. You can see there's a theme with Caribbean islands. Just to have a good time on the beach by myself, using that time to reflect, to think, to read a good book, to read a not so good book, listen to some music, get a little sun and action, and that's always good. I had a wonderful time in the Cayman Islands. I have been to many different places actually within the United States by myself, specifically Florida. The benefit of being in such a huge state like the state of Florida is that there are lots of places to go to. So I have been to many different parts of Miami. When people typically think of Miami, they only think of one part, but there are many lovely parts of Miami. So that lovely staycation is possible. I have done staycations in Fort Lauderdale, in Tampa, in Orlando area as well. So you can always find something to do. You just really have to kind of figure out what you want to do. And so speaking of that, when I go on solo vacations, I tend to go to the same type of solo vacations. What are some of the things you like to do when you go by yourself?
Well, I love to chat with people to, as I said before, get their experiences, share my experience, and see what we have in common. One of the things traveling has taught me is that we're all more alike than we are different. And so I embody differences. I like differences. I believe that I am a better person when I can wrap my arms around somebody, not literally, and learn more about them. When I travel solo, it helps to build my confidence. As I shared with you earlier, I lost my husband, her daddy, and before experiencing so many solo travels, I would travel with my husband. We did everything together. So now that I am learning to travel solo, and I'm telling you that it is not always the most comfortable thing for me to do, And because I'm able to do some and do them solo, then I am building confidence. I am making decisions for myself. I don't have to make decisions with other people. You know, sometimes you travel with others and you have to figure out what time they're going to get up, what time we're going to meet for breakfast. Are we going to go on the store? Are we all going to go together? What time are we going to go? That sort of thing. So, traveling solo, one, helps to build my confidence. Traveling solo also provides an opportunity for me to self reflect. And when I self reflect, I usually not only think about myself, but I think about what my actions, what my behaviors are toward others, how I am impacting my family. And now that I am the matriarch of the family, then I really have to constantly think about how I come across. Am I doing enough to keep the legacy going? So when I travel, not only do I try to learn about other people and their families, and you know, we as grandmothers, we always like to talk about our grandbabies because our grandbabies are always the best grandbabies in the whole world. So I talk about that. That's always a good subject to talk about. Traveling solo for me also helps to provide a positive outlook. It gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling to know that I am out here, out there, just having a good time. And yes, I love to dance. I love to listen to music, and I love to read. Did I say I love to eat as well? So when I travel solo, I get an opportunity to do the things that make me smile, and that brings a positive attitude. Traveling solo also provides the opportunity for me to grow and learn. As Patrice said earlier, going on conferences, you not only learn from others, but you learn from experts in the field who are there to share. And of course, as an educator, I'm always open to learning new things. And at my age, when I travel solo, it makes me feel young. I feel younger because now I am going back to the stage where I don't have as many inhibitions as I did in those 20s and 30s and 40s. So yes, I do tend to feel young, kind of responsible for my own being. Yes, so those are some of my reasons for or ideas of what traveling solo has done for me. What about you?
I agree with a lot of what you said. I think that traveling solo definitely allows you to feel a sense of independence, with I think also allows a little bit of confidence boost. You have to do it on your own. So being able to figure out your likes, your dislikes, as you said, not having to prescribe to anybody else's likes and dislikes, and really just kind of doing what you want to do when you want to do it is a wonderful thing. It also lets you plan a lot. You get to plan what you want to do some of that research, talk to other people who have experienced those places before. We are so lucky to have the internet to be able to do some of the research. But even before the internet, just reading travel books, looking at maps, trying to decide where would be easier to travel versus not easier to travel. And then another part of solo travel that you can consider is traveling for an event. So whether it is a concert, which I love a good concert.
And we do.
We do. Absolutely. Or traveling for an experience at a museum, or for something in relations to art or spirituality, whatever the case may be. That in and of itself, I think, makes solo travel a good experience, because you don't necessarily have to worry about somebody else. You can do exactly what you want to do. And I think also solo travel helps you learn not just what you like and what you don't like, but about who you are in general.
Right.
As you said, the reflection, the time to be able to think about who you are and where you want to go. You can do some goal settings. You can plot and plan the next year, 5 years, 10 years of your life. You can do that during solo travel as well.
And also evaluate where you are and see if, by your standards, you are heading in the direction that you want to go.
Absolutely. So a lot of people ask us, or ask me, I'm sure they've asked you as well, do you feel safe when you're going on solo trips? And I would say there's some things that we do, that I do in particular, before I make a solo trip decision. I don't necessarily listen to travel advisories, but I try to go places that are just touristy enough that you know that there's certain safety protocols. There is a government website, and we'll put the link below in the description, that you can go to as an American traveling to different countries. If you register on this website, you actually have access to the U.S. Embassy in different countries. So a lot of people don't know that. So just in case you run into trouble, people know where you are, and you know where you can go in case something crazy breaks out. But I've never had that experience. So that's one way you can keep safe. Usually when I check into a hotel or an Airbnb, instead of saying me and I say we. I get 2 cards to get into the hotel room. I also mention the person that's coming to visit me later. Don't ever let it be known that you are by yourself, because people prey on that. And so that's a safety trick that I usually use. When renting a car, make sure that you don't have anything like your suitcases and stuff like that in the car itself, making sure that they're in the trunk, making sure that you in your room are closing windows, make sure that you close your room properly, make sure that you try to get as close to the elevator or stairs as possible. I personally don't like staying on the ground floor, but I do hear that it's a safer option for quite a few people. And so those are some of the things that I think really help when it comes to solo travel. And naturally, making sure people know where you are, and making sure that even though you are there by yourself, having some sort of connection, whether it's, like I mentioned before, the U.S. Embassy, or you might know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that lives there, making sure that there's some connection as well. And do your research on the country or the city that you're going to also.
And something that just brought that to my memory. Once we traveled together, and we were going to take a taxi with somebody, of course, we have never met before. So we asked the taxi driver to give us his driver's license. We took a copy of the driver's license and we emailed it or texted it to our family and our friends, to say, this is whose car we're getting into, this is where we're going, and this is about the time frame that we will be away. So there are many things that you can do, and we have done, to keep us safe as we travel. And remember, your safety is the most important thing. when you travel, solo or otherwise. So always take precautions and don't walk around looking scared all the time, looking around. Walk with confidence.
Yep.
Just walk like you own where you are. And so you'll be fine. We have been traveling and both solo and as a group, and have never run into any issues. And we have gone to some downtown cities, and people have said, "Oh, why are you going to go downtown?" But I have never felt afraid because, one, I pick my spots and I have an idea of how to reach out to others to let them know where I am.
And the best thing, we'll wrap up here, but the best thing that you can take with you on a solo trip is your common sense. Don't do the things on the trip that you wouldn't even do at home. Make sure that you are packing your common sense when you pack everything else. So, thank you for joining us again on our trips.
Do remember to like, subscribe, and share. We will see you again soon in the next video. Bye.